Good morning, St. Martin. What's cooking? Last week I had an episode, Let's Make a Deal. And seemingly that triggered an MP to make a deal and break the 2x4 coalition to ensure that the country will become unstable. When you read the MP's reasoning, you instantly ask yourself a few things. Because the MP was accusing the governor and by extent the Prime Minister for stalling the approval and swearing in of the two candidate ministers, MP Manuel and MP Peterson. And that he wasn't really being treated fairly in the coalition by coalition members. I wasn't part of the coalition meetings, as I was not elected, so I wasn't privy to those type of meetings. So I will not speak to what happened there. I have heard various people tell me things about it, but again, because it is hearsay in that aspect, I will shy away from such. But with regards to the Now Party, of which I am the deputy leader, the same cannot be said. He cannot say that the Now Party treated him with disrespect or turned their back on him. To the contrary, we embraced him when he was kicked out of the other parties. We gave him a home. We treated him with respect. We gave him a plateau that allowed him to be elected. Because with the same vote count he had, if he had it in the up, he would not have been elected. If he had it at the NA, he would have not been elected. And if he had it at the USRM, he would have not been elected. Nor in the DP, nor in the PLP. Check all those other vote counts. Those that were elected were much higher. So the Now gave him a platform to be elected, to make himself a good MP. It is sad because I called the MP personally, so this is not hearsay. Last week, Friday, he was in Brazil with 4 other MPs, I believe, from the UP and the NA. And I told him what I had heard on the Grace show. And I said, MP, is there any truth to this? And he explained me in colloquial English, our English, the English I like to speak sometimes, with a lot of bleeps in the conversation because you can't say those things on air, that it's not true. And it's this, and it's that, and it's that. And then I hear the Prime Minister today on Grace make the statement that last week, Friday, in the evening hours, he entertained the former Prime Minister in his office to thank her while talking about the transition of the two governments. So I was at a loss when on Monday I heard that the government fell after the credentials meeting in the Parliament House. It was the 4th meeting. Now, what happened after that? The minute he declared himself, I don't want to say independent because he wasn't independent yet, not a member of the Marcelina coalition, let me call it that way, and that he is supporting a new coalition, the Fabulous 8 now, the Super 7 became the Fabulous 8. The Prime Minister evoked Article 59 within an hour or two, informed the governor, had meetings with the governor, and a national decree was signed within a day, pulling the elections for July 18 and postulation for this Friday, May 31st. I think this date is going to change, listening to the Prime Minister today also and Lady Grace, but seeing the press release of former MP Franklin Myers, where he is bringing the Sam party into the race. It's something we will talk about later because that's very interesting, to be honest. He would have to be given the time, just like how the PFP was given the time back in 2019 to prepare himself, as the law says a maximum of 6 weeks has to be given to any new party towards postulation day. So a week is basically where we are right now, so there might be an extension of 5 weeks, I want to believe. Because once the national decree was published, he is in objection to it, and understandably, because he should get the right to vote. This is a democracy in our constitution, and this is something we shouldn't take lightly at no point in time, no matter which side of the fence I am on or they are on. Democracy is democracy, law is law. We're not talking about unwritten norms and unwritten this, and we're talking about the damn law. That's what we're talking about. So let's adhere to that and do what has to be done. But again, like I said, that's the law. The other part of the law that I hope is going to be enforced is that an informateur is going to be appointed. The governor is having discussions right now with the party leaders to see what is possible. So I want to believe he will be talking to the NA, the UP, the USRM, the DP, the NOW, the PFP, and independent member Mingret. You have to talk to him too, to see if maybe Mingret wants to come back and say, I make a big mistake. I ain't getting into this nonsense. I can go back home. I want to go back to the government I had. We don't know. And the reason I'm saying that is I will reveal something just now. That's going to drop a lot of pants off of people's waist. Because deceit is the name of the game in what happened. Not, oh, I don't like what happened. No, that's not it. Because those letters didn't make sense that were written. So, but I hope an informateur, or maybe even two informateurs, because things are very complicated now, are going to be appointed once again to go through this long rigmarole of which government is possible, which one is not possible, which one do we move forward with, because it should be in the interest of the country. That's what was said to us the last time around. So let's do that again. Let's see what will happen. Because the games are now being looked at by all, not just by us, but by all, including his boss, the Netherlands. They are looking at this one very carefully right now, what's going to happen. But the mere fact that the governor signed in a day shows you his discontent with what happened. Because basically they threw him under the bus. The explanation of the MP was that it took so long for the government and there was no transparency and 2 ministers were not appointed. But the formateur didn't do that. The Prime Minister, Luc Marcelino, didn't do that. The governor did that, using unwritten norms, or norms that are published in somebody's book, but not in the law books, not in the Constitution. So let's get clear on this thing, because we like to hide behind too many things. The new ministers for the interim government are going to have to be screened. That, I heard the Prime Minister already said, that took him about 6 weeks to get the VDSM and the Prosecutor General's documentation. Will that now take another 6 months, or do we have a backdoor to make it in 3 days? What will happen? But the law is clear. Any new minister must be vetted. School children are saying a lot of ministers that were there ain't doing that. A lot of those ministers seem to have butter on their head, and something might pop up in the screening, no matter how marginal it is. And because it pops up, it might have consequences for them running in the upcoming election, because the stories they were telling you all about themselves are factually not true. So let's see what will happen. Let's see what will really happen. That this government has indicated that they will be filing many charges at the public prosecutor's office based on what they found in the 17 days they were in office is very telling. Remember, the Prime Minister didn't only say the country was bankrupt, The Prime Minister said much more. When you listen to the ministers speak, when they did their press conference on Wednesday, that was a very, very telling press conference. And then when you read of the Minister of Romy telling you what they bounced upon in Romy, they found a shell, not a ministry. All the bosses were moved so that the minister could have done what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. There was not even a transition report given in when the government left. It came in this week. The cabinet brought it in fast. These are things that when I say it, I disgruntled. I'm happy others are saying it now. I'm happy that this government that is not Bancampo, because I'm not in government, is saying these things. And the Pandora's box has opened up. And when I said has opened up, believe you me, it has opened up. Because a lot has been said and a lot more will be said yet. But politics has a way, or a nasty habit I would say, of making strange bed friends. And the many Facebook messages and direct campaign speeches about how the MP stated he was treated by the same people he went back in bed with when he broke this government. Or let me put it this way, destabilized it. I ain't gonna say break it, I'm gonna say destabilize it because I can tell you why. He went back and formed the Fabulous Eight. It does speak of a hidden character. I spoke to this MP personally for hours. And while I know he is easy to convince of something, I didn't expect that part. Because the one thing he kept selling to me was his upbringing, his humble upbringing and his loyalty and his honesty. And I don't like to just always misjudge people or throw them under the bus. And I gave him my belief. I said, I'm going to talk in the party, we're going to work with you, we're going to protect you, make sure everything goes good. The one trip he goes alone without guidance, he destabilizes this government within 11 working days, 17 calendar days. It's unfortunate, but it is the truth. I'm not going to bash the MP. I haven't even mentioned his name. I'm not going to bash him. But I believe the electorate will speak their minds when this comes to election. But I'll say this though, is these sorts of moves, no matter done by whom, makes the electorate fed up with the games that are played politically with their vote. It is unbelievable that a person that did not win his seat outright used a party's platform and then throws down the government. Now, mind you, I'm not a hypocrite. I've told you that before. I was in a position where I held a seat that was won by the USP party, and I declared myself independent because when we ran on the slate, independence was not a matter of discussion or opposition of the party. And when we parted ways, it was because of that position that was taken. We had big arguments inside because I supported, together with then former MP Akim Arundel from the USP, we supported the laws to be passed because we thought that was the best for the country. We were not going to vote against it because we were opposition. That's not the politician Bancampo. And I was able to convince Akim Arundel not to do that because it was in the interest of the country. Yes, we supported the government with that, but it was because of the interest of the country when we were going through COVID. That's why we did it. And that led to me eventually going independent. But I did not destabilize the government at no point in time because I was not in government. While I was governing, because I would give my advice and very often they listened and followed many of my advices, I will not say that I was in government. But it is up to the electorate to decide what happened. If it was justified, what happened? If it was not justified, if we will punish him, if we will not punish him, if they will punish those that are now in government, or they will punish the enablers of the destabilization, which were those that were in Brazil with him and their parties, most probably. Again, that's the electoral's position. They're going to have to make that one. What I will do is put out the information so that everybody knows what's happening behind the scenes. Because we got to be honest. You know, one of the things that the former government ran on and pounded their chest boldly, we gave you 4 years. You were in office for 4 years, yes. And the question is, how did you remain in office when you lost your majority in June 2022? It wasn't that the boys just joined you. It wasn't that they just jumped on your bandwagon and said, okay, we're going to hold the flag and we're going to continue with this government. The investigation, the information will come out. Which MPs had companies receiving payment as consultants to keep the former government in office. Let me tell you what's going down. You see, that's what they're scared of. That's why they destabilized us. Because the things that are coming up now are very, very serious. But I will say this one. Go and look for it. Go and look for the payments. You will notice they started in June 2022. Go look for them. See who is attached to those companies. They were MPs in the government. And then come back here in the next campaign and tell me how you run for 4 years. If that's how you run government, God help St. Martin. God help St. Martin. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. When you read the Minister Vromi, that Vromi was left rudderless. No SG, no deputy SG, staff bureau empty. The longest serving department head out on medical leave. They just got somebody in Vromi to come on, in the Vrom department to come on. No head of permits, no head of domain. Where you going? How can you run a department like that? And then you overinflated the budget, and now they're going to go cut 2-3 million from a budget that, if they cut it, they have nothing. You see, the Prime Minister spoke about a lot of things today, about where things were wrong. When I spoke about Vromi, a lot of people said it was sour grapes, when I explained what went down. But I'll say this much. If what I was saying was also wrong, then I wonder what I'm going to say just now, why it happened. A lot of contractors were paid money, never executed the work. But the government didn't want to collect it back because they were affiliated to their organizations. What's going on? The bus and taxi scandal, the amount of things that was said. You hear school children saying who falsified signatures of the minister to give licenses to their friends. Look, all of these things are being said, was said before during elections too. But now, the new government has been able to pull up the documents. And those documents are now subject to scrutiny. And now people are getting very nervous. And people used leverage of one of them who did something wrong to tell them, if you don't leave, we're going to tell. We're going to show. All of these type of things is what's happening. Is what led up to what happened. You just got to say it the way it is. And a lot of people are afraid to say certain things. I mean, Marcelina has told everybody on the radio that his safety has been compromised. And they threatened him. I mean, you know, I always say, We got to be careful what we do or what we don't do. But the truth will always set you free. Many hidden documents are being brought up to light now. And I'm sure when everything is said and done, a lot of things are going to look different than they were told to you during the last campaign. A lot of truths will be revealed. And a lot of untruths that were told will be exposed. You know, these things, if I follow the trend of thought of the present ministers and the Prime Minister, a lot of documents are going to be handed over to the Public Prosecutor's Office. And then from there we will see where we go. But you know, the country is in a horrible financial state, the Prime Minister said. And calling an election going to cost you $500,000 more. And a lot of people are, oh, look at the Prime Minister. He said we bankrupt, but he's spending $500,000. Well, the only reason he's doing that is because another term with this government that was there before, the NA-UP government, will not only bankrupt this country, but we'll have to sell it. We'll have to sell it to pay our debts. Because they even went on the budget, put on $50 million extra, with shares from Mania being sold, share to do what? To do what exactly? I understand Winnie might need privatization, you know. But the privatization doesn't mean to say you have to sell it off. Work a partnership. Work with KLM. Work with Air France. I don't know who, but why sell? Next thing you're going to sell is GB. Then TLM. Then the airport. Then the harbor. Then the hospital. But then you sold your country, you have nothing. You have nothing anymore. So we got to be careful. You know, the budget was overinflated and it's causing a lot of problems. It's really causing a lot of problems because this government will have themselves in hot water. They were promised the civil service, they promised civil service a bunch of things. They're going to raise the vacation allowance. Vacation allowance is due now. But there's no money for it. There's no money to pay the additional vacation allowance. And let them come out and say, oh, this government is fear-mongering and we're doing it. Where's the money? Show us the money. Not that piece of crap paper you call a budget that you knew was no good. You all knew it. But in Scotland, putting away money. Huh? Boy, this is going to be an election campaign like you have never seen before. My story has been told over and over. But your story going to be told this time. Breaking news. Andrew will have a field day every day. Every day going to have a field day. And all those others in talk shows trying to cover your backside, they're going to move on. Because this is it. Like Marcelina said, it's now or never. But what I am telling you here, no, is just the tip of the iceberg. Eh? There is so much more. But let's talk about what happened yesterday. Because you can remember I was telling you about transparency, integrity, and deceit? Deceit? Good. Can you remember the fabulous 8 who all signed? 8 people signed. Omar Otley, Akeem Arundel, Francisco de la Cruz, Kevin Mingret, Egbert Jurendi Duran, Artwell Arian, Silveria Jacobs, and Unde Malin. Those 8 people signed. Yesterday, the Prime Minister received an offer from Silveria Jacobs, Unde Malin, and Artwell Arian to form a new government. The same 3 that instilled in Kevin's head to move, destabilize the country, went there now and tell the man, listen, we willing to work with all you. Then we're going to call new elections and all that. This is what it is. All right? Destabilize it, throw it down basically, and then try to come through the back door. Because Lord, I can't take out all of we things now. Yes, people, this is what happened. Bank campaign line. Ask all of them in the government building. Go ask Silveria. Go ask Onde. Go ask Atwell. Because those are the three involved. Or you ain't going to throw those that ain't involved. But Kevin, watch your back. Because your backside for sale too. You follow them. You destabilize this government. And to yesterday, they were ready to sell your little backside out. So that they could get back into power. Don't fool yourself. Yes, governor, go check what went down. Because they play you too. They played you too. Helping them method. Look where we are today. Under your watch, governor. Bravo, job well done. But again, like I tell you, PM Marcelina, while we don't always agree, I'll agree with a few things with him. Being a doctor, it's a go, no go. You're either saving the life or you ain't saving it. It ain't about, oh, let me see if he saw any insurance. No, you do what you gotta do then. So, at this point in time, you hear him speak this morning, so I think the offer was off the table. But the deceit of those three to mash up the government Monday, and by Thursday they already reached to offer their services. You notice, Omar, they put you out too? All right, you get pushed aside. I hope I know who you're dealing with now. Because the former leader of the UP warned you for that. Crapper gonna smoky pipe on this one. Crapper gonna smoky pipe on this one. I will not allow the public of St. Martin to forget this. I will not allow that. I think it is craziness that 8 people sign, send a letter to the governor. Governor has to call new elections, get in a formateur or informateur ready, holds discussions, and then the leader, the former prime minister, making an offer to join the present coalition for 1 or 2 ministries. Nah, man. Can't be serious. But I understand the move. After the big ding-dong, they had one of those properties going up there to Point Blanche within the party, but who will get leadership and who's 1, who's 2, and all that nonsense. I understand your move. Because everybody trying to save their skin. But the people are not the norm. It is you above the country, not the country above you. Something you are always so-called preaching. That's my problem. Don't worry about Bangampo. Don't worry what the court case is. Worry about you. You worry about your integrity. You went around, campaign, I can't take my seat. I'm going to take my seat. Believe you me, when I'm elected, I take in my seat. And then a damn thing you could do about that. You see? Because the letter of the law is clear. But that's not the discussion today. My thing is this. Why did the NA come with 3 votes and not 4 votes? Because if they had 4 votes, they might have said, okay, throw out the PFP, throw out the no, because those are the troublemakers, and go with the Fab 4, Marcelina with the 2 and DP with their 2. And we'll see then how it would work. If there was anything to work. Because the UP was out, that was the big problem they had. Because UP had mashed up Grisha, so Sarah going to protect Grisha. Politics, though, is a strange animal. And it makes strange bed friends. I was taught that by a good friend of mine. He said, I will never do that, boy. Not me. And then when he did it, I called him. He said, Antonius, never say never in politics. And it was a lesson I learned, and a lesson I kept close to my heart, and my friend know who I'm talking to. The bottom line is this. You can play politics, but you cannot be this deceitful to make a young man break and destabilize the government, paid or not, promised or not, to then come 3 days later behind his back, because I know you didn't tell him you're going to see if you could get in with Mercelina to join and form a new government, leaving out the UP and leaving out Mingret, and most probably throwing out the NOW or the PFP, or DP. I don't know, because that I didn't get. But what I did get is that all you went to cut this deal. So tell me honestly, tell the people of St. Martin, you didn't do it. Tell them that. Go out and tell them that after you force a destabilization in the present government after 17 days, that you didn't reach there after 3 days, and tell them, Silveria at your service. Which ministries you giving me? Set the damn hypocrites. I told you all. There are certain things you do, but you don't do everything for power. And what you all did is clearly for power. Because you knew you couldn't trust him, and you would get your backside clobbered with him in there, because the demands he would make, you cannot comply with. So, let's just destabilize it, call an election, and see if we can get more seats this time around. Well, if that's the way you're going to do it, let the people at least know. Let the people at least know who you truly are. Take off your mask and show them your real face. Because we always go up there and we start crying. And no man. In politics, there's no crying. We deal with what's ahead of us. We deal with the reality. And the reality should be the well-being of the people. And I've always said it. I will vote on whichever side of the fence I have to, be it government or opposition, if it is the best thing for the people. It wasn't about Bancampa. It never was. Some people make it because that way they try to discredit your position by discrediting the person. But I always had a message. I keep telling people, stop shooting the messenger. Read the message. Listen to the message. Analyze the message. And when you do that, people, then you will have a firm belief of what's really happening in this country called St. Martin, in the political arena, because we are destroying ourselves. So you see, I hope when the informateur is appointed, if he's going to be appointed, that Mingret is asked if he won't come back home and join with the present coalition. Or maybe somebody else from the present coalition won't join with the Fab 8. I don't know. That's what the informateur does. That's his job. To see which vacancies or which possibilities are available to give the most stable interim government, because we're going to elections. That's what it should be about. Not about see who we could put back in fast. Oh, people, a lot more going to happen in the next few days. Normally, I have decided, to move from Monday to Friday, so I can sometimes give a nice recap. And most probably, so much will happen over the next few days that another show will be possible so that we can talk the thing. Because if we don't talk the thing, it will get lost in St. Martin. And I don't want these things to get lost. People need to know who doing what and why. Because only when they know that will they know if placing their trust in them is really worth the ride. I can't tell you who to vote for or who not to vote for. You got to be mature. I know a lot of people are not politically matured in St. Martin. You might be matured, but you're not politically matured. And sometimes we go too often for sweet talk, and some of them still go for the chicken leg and Johnny cake syndrome. And that's why very often we get led down a path. And the last government decided, well, we're going to fix it to keep it. And that way we can run the country. Well, you ran it bankrupt. That's crystal clear. That's what the Prime Minister found when they did their review. Now, there are two other things I want to touch briefly. Hurricane season. Hurricane season is upon us. 8 days from today, we are officially in the hurricane season. 8 days, people. And a lot of things are not ready. And the most disturbing news I heard was that there was not enough money for more than one shelter on the budget. And I'm saying, my God, we are looking at 25 to 27 named storms, 5 major or 7 major hurricanes, at least 10 hurricanes. These are the projections, and we are not ready. I left Romy 4 years ago. We're sitting on a pump in the water. I know they can blame me for it and say I was there for 25 years and I didn't do nothing. No, I did something. I had it ready. The new government came in and turned it over to NRPB. And that's just a big black hole, because nothing happens there. Same thing for garbage. Nothing happens there. The dump didn't change since 2018. I left 4.5 years ago. It still didn't change. But is Bankrupting doing it? Bankrupting did this. Okay. Hopefully those in power can now realize that they're doing that. The big envelope, 35 million, 15 million. What happened to it? Only consultants we've been. Because nothing happened on the landfill. Nothing happening there. So please, hurricane season on. What are we going to do for the people? Are the shelters going to be manned? Because we don't have the money to man them on the budget. So if we're going to make changes, those are the type of changes I hope this government can still make. So at least if we are hit, and God forbid it, that at least the people have a place to go to. So we can do something. I am very cautious with it. Because GB is in shambles still when it comes to maintenance. Every day, basically, we have load shedding. That will only get worse with the hurricanes. That will only get worse. Let us be honest with ourselves and look at the reality pictures. What about our food sustainability? Because going to the supermarkets, it has only gone up, not down. And with the fuel being so expensive, that means shipping costs. And we ship in everything because we still haven't done nothing in the past 4 years on agriculture. So, what are we doing? I got a few letters I might be able to give 1 or 2 people, but I can't feed Samaritan. We got to look at this thing holistically, but we don't. And that's why I say I fear for our country. We're going to have to make some very, very serious choices. Otherwise, we're in very serious trouble. In closing, I want to send a message. Mullet Bay belongs to us, Samaritan. And Mr. Yardim and the central bank could talk all the BS they want. But what we going to do to the courts? Do what? You caused this stupidness? You, Hardim, was there all the time. You caused Hero, you caused this, and you come tell Samaritan, oh, we going to see what the court's going to say? No, we going to see what the court's going to say. I implore the Samaritan government, take back the damn land. Take it back. If we going to play this game, then let's play the game. We want the land because it's in the well-being of this country. And then let the courts tell us how much we got to pay. Because this stupid little game, we sign off to pay $3 million for 50 years. 150 million guilders. We pump it into Enya. Thanks to our wise kid that hide me money elsewhere. And today, you're going to read in the newspaper about, oh, we're going to see what the court's going to say. What kind of nonsense is this? We're a partner in the central bank, partner. We own 22 to 26% of the central bank. What's wrong with you? You're out your mind? But you see, Samaritan have this habit of allowing them to sit over there. The whole executive board is from Curacao. Because Don Bush, buttering he bread in Curacao, not in Samaritan. And when we say that we should move away from the central bank, everybody going crazy. When we say we need a bank in Samaritan, from Samaritan, for Samaritan, people say we're crazy. The people, open your eyes. Look past your nose. Because they're riding us like the damn donkey we want to sometimes be. So either We're going to take a firm stand now with Mullet Bay, or we're going to lose Mullet Bay. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the weekend. Please take this podcast and share it. It's also on Facebook. So like my post on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube page, and get this message out. St. Martin needs the message to be heard. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Bunks is out.